An amendment is going to be on the ballot in California. In fact, 5 states are going to be dealing with the issue of the sanctity of human life in one way or another on the ballot in November. Now, 2 of the states are advancing pro-life measures. 3 of the states are advancing abortion protections, as they say, in the wake of the Dobbs decision, which says that this is an issue for elected representatives, not the courts, to decide. Well, California is one of those 5 states where they have Proposition 1. It would amend the state's constitution and actually place abortion on demand up until birth in the state's constitution. Think about that. In the state's constitution, a constitutional right to abortion on demand up until birth. Now, this is another reminder of why we need to pray, we need to vote, and we need to stand. Because this kind of stuff, if the church were more fully engaged, it wouldn't be happening. And I know this is what we were just talking about, this Christian nationalism is designed to intimidate us. Look, call me what you want, I don't care. I'm still going to stand for truth. You can call me a Christian nationalist, you can call me whatever you want. I'm a Christian, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I'm going to bring my values to the debate just like anybody else in this country has the right to do. Well, joining me now to discuss this is a pastor who is leading his church to stand up for that truth in California and is pushing back against Governor Newsom and his push to make California an abortion destination. Pastor Jack Hibbs, senior pastor and founding pastor of Calvary Chapel Chino Hills in California. Pastor Jack, welcome back to Washington Watch. Always good to see you.
Hey, Tony. Thank you much.
Okay. Ballot propositions are often couched in misleading language meant to confuse. And, California has some crafty politicians. In plain language, what does a yes or a no vote mean for Proposition 1?
Simply this, Tony. We want a no vote because this would enshrine not only abortion, of course, but you actually gently put it when you said up till birth. This is a proposition that will amend the state constitution that actually, Tony, is that the devil is not in the details in this case. The details have been left out, meaning we are being told here by attorneys in our state, we understand that it's actually a birthday abortion change to our state constitution. Gavin Newsom is literally on steroids when it comes to either signing executive orders or getting his supermajority Democrat-controlled legislature here in Sacramento to craft these types of bills and to attempt these types of constitutional amendments. And if anyone is doubting the danger of it all, just try posting, for example, stopprop1.com. That's our domain. That is us. We are campaigning with that. Every time we post something, Tony, we get stopped. Why? Because in a recent poll that we conducted with Rasmussen, 79% of voters in California, that's a whole lot of Democrats, said that when they had Prop 1 explained to them, Tony, they said, that's too extreme. This is murder. So there's enough Democrats who hear about it who say, that's murder. What we need to do is get the word out. And I'm telling you, we're fighting big tech now. They're trying to do everything they can to silence us, Tony. But a no vote is what we must have. California voters must register to vote. They must vote no on Proposition 1 to stop the bloodlust of this Governor Newsom. It's hard to believe, and I'm embarrassed. The most beautiful state in this nation is crafting the most demonic legislation that this country has ever seen regarding the unborn child.
How are the churches responding to this?
Well, the churches that have heard about it are responding like you well know in this state, one of 2 ways. Number one, they're getting on board. Number 2, quote, we don't get involved in politics. Now, Tony, you and I have been hearing that for as long as you and I have been friends. And I'm just going to say this. And I'm afraid that I might be right about this. When COVID came through, Tony, it separated many of the churches, and it emboldened pulpits, and it took pulpits down. This next thing, this Prop 1, is going to be the second wave of testing the pulpits and the Christians' resolve in California. Will the pulpit, the pastor, and the Christians say no to murder, or are they just going to say, we don't get involved in politics? And by doing that, I think it could be the death nail for the church in California if it doesn't stand on this one. God's given us one more chance to be biblical and to stand and to stop letting elected officials rob from the church and from our scriptures. We've got to act by voting. We've got to speak up. This is the hour of the church in California. If we don't do it, Tony, I think it's the closing moments for the church in California if we don't do the right thing.
Now, you wrote an article on this proposition for Newsmax, and I have a link to it on my website, tonyperkins.com, and you talk about this being a birthday abortion amendment, that this is extreme. Let me ask you this, Jack. I mean, California, they're out there on so many things, politically, culturally, and we see constantly these fires. We see all this. Of course, you're not supposed to connect the two, but I just think that it may be a line too far if the state of California enshrines into its constitution this birthday abortion measure. I mean, I think, at some point God says, you know what, this you're all right. You want the spirit of murder, you have it.
Yeah, Tony, I'm glad you said that, because I believe that. I'm praying accordingly, and I'm not the only one where it's the tipping point. I think God is saying, one last chance, Californians. Do you want me in your life or not? Do you want me in your state or not? If you want to throw me out, it's connected to the children. If you're going to kill children, I'm going to take it personal. And that means you don't want me around either. And if you think California's got its problems now, I think the hand of God will be lifted from this state, and we will see things untold before and unseen before. Because if we really believe in our Bibles, Tony, the God, Abraham said, shall not the Lord of all the earth do right? Well, the answer is, of course he will. And he's going to do right. He will not be mocked. And right now in Sacramento, Newsom is mocking God. Yesterday, Tony, I can't even tell you, he passed a dozen legislative strokes of his pen or executive orders to all of them related to abortion. 12 of them yesterday. He set a record for evil in our state yesterday. Either I'm praying God shows up with a hand of judgment to awaken this nation, or I don't know that, but please, that pastors might wake up and join our fight. But this is the hill to die on, Tony. There's nothing after this.
I want to switch gears just a little bit, still within the same realm of discussion, but Senate Bill 107, which is a bill that's on the governor's desk, that this bill would give the state control over a child this basically is enticing children from other states who want transgender treatment to come into the state of California. California would then take jurisdiction over them, despite what the parents would want, and aid them in these procedures. I want to play a clip from our Pray Vote Stand Summit a couple of weeks ago. This is Governor Kevin Stitt of Oklahoma actually speaking about what's happening in your state of California. Play clip number 7.
This would allow for young children with gender dysphoria in other states to come to California to undergo life-changing procedures without their parents' consent. Think about that. This is simply wrong. We know it inherently. Americans agree with that. Parents should be in charge of their children, not politicians in California or Washington, D.C.
I mean, Jack, what a contrast between you have governors like that in Oklahoma and governors even in Virginia who are standing up for parental rights. And I go back to your premise a few moments ago. I think God and I know this is going to be controversial to the ears of some, but it's historically accurate, it's certainly biblically accurate. I believe God is going to bless those states who align themselves with His truth, and we're going to see more problems in those states that not only reject truth, but intentionally go the other direction.
Tony, SB 107, if people can even handle this, they're not going to believe what we tell them right now about it. It actually circumnavigates or attempts to circumnavigate this 49 other states, their jurisdiction, parental rights, to have a child basically, think about it, basically sneak out of their home, slip away, run away, catch a bus, catch a plane, whatever. Don't worry about it. California, my tax dollars will pay for that. The parents are going to wake up to find out that their kid has gone to California to have a sex change or some other type of hormonal replacement therapy. And the parents, California, would declare that this kid from Louisiana has got the right to not let their parents know, leave home, and have this done in California while here we pay for it. And it completely undermines the jurisdiction and authority of the parent. This sounds too fantastic. People are probably thinking, Jack, come on, that is not it. My friends, read the bill. Tony's right. That's exactly what it's about.
I can't imagine, with that knowledge and understanding, that Bible preaching churches in California and Bible believing Christians could sit idly by when they will be forced to be participants in this through their tax dollars.
Tony, judgment must first begin at the house of the Lord, and how the pastors handle this is going to determine, I like to look at it this way, it's going to determine that church's particular witness, right? Think about it. Jesus said, I walked through the midst of the lampstands. And we learn from the book of Revelation that those lampstands are the witness of each church. In this next bout of being relevant or not, will the church in California rise up and throw off the burden of fear and self-imposed, likes or friends? I don't know what, but to obey God and really tremble at His word. That's what we must do in California. Pastors must tremble at His word, or frankly, go get another job. But we have got to stand.
Let me ask you a question that I think the answer should encourage other pastors across the country and probably scare the left. But we've known each other for almost 20 years. We're battle buddies. And you preach the Word of God in your church. I mean, just what we're talking about here is what you preach from the pulpit. Your church is growing so rapidly. You're actually encouraging people to go elsewhere. Back during the pandemic, they were coming to your church, and you would say, hey, when your church opens, go back to your own church. I don't have enough room for you here. So pastors who would preach the word, there is a hunger for the truth. Oh, I think I may have lost. Jack, you still there? Oh, we may have lost him. Let's see if we get it. Yeah, there he is.
Tony. Yeah, Tony, it's simply this. Jesus said, my sheep hear my voice and they follow me. So what happened to us is that we never stopped giving people the voice of God, which is the Bible. We do what every church growth organization tells us won't work. If we teach verse by verse, chapter by chapter, that will never work. And you know what? It not only works, it honors God, and it's the voice of God through the scriptures. And when you give the scripture, God's people will flock to the word. And that's all we need to care about. Pastors, teach the Bible, and the Lord will have His people respond to His word. You don't have to advertise. You don't have to have commercials. Teach the word, and He'll supernaturally draw His flock to your church.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of competition, so they will come to your church. Pastor Jack, great to see you as always. Thank you for standing firm in California and really across the nation.
Thank you, Tony.